Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
We have an update on our KELOLAND News investigation into the 1981 murder of Dwayne McCormick.
The victim's roommate, Jeff Howard, is serving a life sentence for the crime without the possibility of parole. He still maintains his innocence and has convinced the Great North Innocence Project to take on his case. According to court documents, multiple people came forward after Howard's conviction, saying a man known as Pete Farley had confessed to the crime. Farley had a criminal record and was a key witness in Howard's trial. The Innocence Project sent in a hammer believed to be the murder weapon for DNA testing. The analysis is now complete, and the samples found on the hammer could not be linked to Farley.
An attorney with the Innocence Project says that doesn't mean Farley was not involved in the crime. His DNA might not be present because he wore gloves or wiped down the hammer. If you'd like to take a closer look at the case, go to the Investigates page on KELOLAND.com.
A group of men say they were in the right place at the right time when they helped rescue a man and his dog.
On Saturday, a Jeep went through the ice on Lake Okoboji near the Highway 71 bridge. 5 men showed up to help as emergency crews were on the way.
It was just something you had to do, I guess, in the heat of the moment. You just have to go.
Local agencies also responded to the scene. The Dickinson County Sheriff's Office reminds people to never drive on ice under a bridge or near pressure ridges. Snow and severe winter weather can pose a challenge for farmers and ranchers.
Ranchers in Tripp County in south-central South Dakota say they've seen up to 80 inches of snow in some areas. Some of them have lost cattle, buildings, and more after entering winter in the midst of a drought.
It's been wild. We came off an exceptionally dry summer where we didn't have nearly the feedstocks raised that we normally would at that point in time, and then going into these storms relatively early for us anyway, it's really put a strain on feedstocks. It's put a strain on breeding livestock.
Losing cattle, and it's hard. It's just cattle, they get cold and they drift off. They run out of water. Water freezes, or your power shuts off, and just hard to do it.
On a positive note, with those drought conditions, these ranchers say they are looking forward to having more moisture this spring because of snow.
Now let's send it over to meteorologist Brian Karstens for a check on this morning's weather. Those ranchers might see a little more snow this morning, Brian.
Yes, a little snow in the area in parts of south central and southwestern South Dakota, even into the Black Hills today, at least through midday. We have a winter weather advisory, but a lot of that in the hills. I would say a lot of it's going to fall this morning. And then for the balance of the day, the wind is one of the top stories. It's going to be a pretty blustery afternoon. North winds 25 to 40, pretty common. Some gusts a little higher than that. And those 30s to start the day will likely see some falling numbers in the northeast. And we'll get to the latest trends on Futurecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Brian. Protests are planned across South Dakota for this Saturday to oppose House Bill 1080. The proposal would ban gender-affirming care for transgender minors. Yesterday, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee passed the bill, sending it to the full Senate.
Supporters of the legislation say this is about protecting kids. The Transformation Project says this is an attack on transgender people. Protests are planned in Brookings, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Vermilion for Saturday morning. Meanwhile, the next public hearing for the proposed social studies standards is tomorrow. It'll be held at the Rushmore Hotel in Rapid City at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. The meeting was supposed to be on Saturday to allow teachers to testify, but the Department of Education moved it to Friday instead.
Wednesday, the DOE announced another group of education experts has endorsed the social studies standards, saying they are rooted in well-informed premises. The proposed changes have come under a lot of criticism, with some teachers saying the content is not age-appropriate and requires too much memorization. One downtown community is bringing people into local businesses for a good cause.
For the first time, downtown Brookings businesses are collecting food and monetary donations for Feeding Brookings and the local food pantry.
We have a lot of people in our community that struggle to make ends meet. We know that these two organizations also suffered towards the end of the year with the weather being so turbulent that they weren't able to get the donations they typically do. So we saw this as an opportunity to really help support our community.
Businesses will be collecting donations today through the 19th. The Pride of Britain, South Dakota will be playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday. Dallas Goedert was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018 and is now the team's starting tight end.
A big chunk of his family will be heading to Arizona to watch the Super Bowl. His parents say they are proud of their son and believe he is ready for the game.
Dallas learned early on how to compete and how to win. Things just came pretty natural for him.
His dad, Gary, says there is a lot of Eagles green being worn around Britain. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, weather today, tracking some of that snow in western South Dakota. I would say right now that if we're going to pick up some minor accumulations outside the Black Hills, I would kind of keep an eye on this area from Phillip down to Pine Ridge and see how much of that accumulates over the next few hours. Otherwise, East River, some flurries. We've got some blustery winds. Temperatures are going to probably start to fall or at least hold in the mid to upper 20s part of the afternoon in the northeast. I would say when you factor in the wind today, though, it just overall has a more blustery feel across the board. Now, we'll get to the wind forecast in a moment, but I will tell you tonight the wind will die down and those temperatures will fall into the single digits across the east. We are expecting a warm up tomorrow in western Ketherland, a chance to get back to some 40s and 50s. That sounds pretty good. Sioux Falls may not be quite that warm, but we're going to get there. We're going to get back on track for the weekend, 30s and pretty mild weather. There's your snow forecast today. Again, those numbers still popping up just a little more around Pine Ridge. There seems to be a little more evidence to support that. Otherwise, less than an inch, maybe flurries East River. That's about all there, and that's good considering the wind that's awfully gusty today. Those sample numbers better than 40 at 12 o'clock there, running up and down the James Valley and points to the east. Good news on the wind. You can see it's tapering off in western South Dakota this afternoon. And tonight, everybody else should see a whole lot less wind in the forecast. And hopefully we can put that wind into a lower category for a while. There are the 30s today out there, again, holding steady. Sioux Falls, we're pretty much at those highs this morning. As we embark upon tonight, we're down in the single digits, so we'll take that in as a colder morning, but it's pretty temporary. 40s are back tomorrow for Pierre. I would say close to 50 in Rapid City. That bright sunshine is helpful. And for the weekend, Sioux Falls, mid-30s. Keep an eye on next week. We might get another day where we could pop up to 40 in Sioux Falls. And every day like that just means a little more melting, doesn't it? And Aberdeen will be about the same 35 to 40 degree weather beginning this weekend. Pierre, Central, Ketherland, upper 40s, close to 50 throughout much of that time period. We'll see if things start changing by day 7 a little bit. There could be an introduction of some snow chances with Rockies system by that point, but we still have many days to analyze that and how that will impact our weather. Check out more details online at ketherland.com.